Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Monday and welcome to Norse Studies. Today we're going to be talking about casting runes. In modern practice, it is quite common to cast runes when you're seeking insight or guidance. And while there are still some people who are determined to disagree with this application of the runes, my own personal position is that the proof is in the pudding. If the readings from runes are good and they prove useful to the querent, then the method is valid for divination. The two most common schools of thought I've come across regarding laying out runes have fallen into two camps, essentially order and chaos. The more orderly method is to select runes and to place them in a pattern in which each position has a specific meaning, just like what you would do with tarot cards. The more chaotic method is just to reach into the bag, grab a few runes or a random amount or a specific number, toss them across the cloth, and at which point the interpretation process becomes much more intuitive. Performing rune readings for yourself can become an aspect of meditation. Thinking about how the runes apply to your own situation can spark a great deal of thought. And sometimes, you just need a nudge in the right direction to more clearly see something that otherwise eluded you. Doing a rune reading for someone else, like with any form of divinatory reading, is a sacred trust. Even if someone asks for a rune reading just for the fun of it, or because they've never had a rune reading before, there's really no telling what kind of information the runes will reveal. It can be very personal. It can be quite a vulnerable moment for people, which brings me to the next point. The runes are not known for being tactful. If you are looking for truth, then there's no tool that I would recommend more. But if you're looking to be told what you want to hear or you need a softer approach, then you're probably not going to be in the right mindset for a rune reading. It will probably tell you what you need to hear, but if you're not open to the message, then there isn't much point in consulting them, is there? And then on that note, I've observed that the runes get a little bit touchy if you come to them, you get an answer that you didn't like, and so you start casting the runes again and again. You're looking for a different answer to the same question, or you're doing multiple readings in a row for the same person who's also looking to get a different message. I don't recommend it. If the first reading came across as rough, then I can guarantee you that the 10th reading will be even more brutal to your feelings. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how to do a rune spread as to do what I would call a rune clump, where you just toss it out. Before I cast, I will be telling the runes that I'm doing this as a demonstration, which is why I'm casting twice in a row. Yes, it does help to tell them these things. And for the orderly method, I will be asking just, what do I need to know right now? Just something general. And then for the more chaotic method, I'll be asking, is there anything else I should be bearing in mind about this? And I will be using 5 stones each time. And so let's get started. Now, for this more orderly and structured rune reading, I have actually borrowed one of my favorite tarot spreads. Let me just readjust that poor one. There we go. That's better. But it's a 5 card spread, and I've just adjusted that to using 5 runes instead. I like to use 5 whether I'm using runes or Ogham or tarot cards, just because I feel like it gives you enough information for you to grapple with, but not so much that you're overwhelmed and you can't digest it properly. So now at the top, this will represent the current situation. Then down here on the 3rd rune, that represents either the solution or an obstacle in the path. And that represents the most likely outcome should everything continue moving along on the lines that they have so far. The 2nd rune over here represents a challenge that will be faced. And then the 4th rune right there, that represents a hidden influence. So you read this in multiple different ways. And you really start, once you get past the first meanings of each particular placement, you start thinking about how these energies are really working together. So let's begin. In the situation at the top, we have Isa representing ice, immobility, a rest period, the need to stop slander, withdrawal, sleep, impediments, inaction, being constrained in some fashion, a lack of ability, evasiveness, experiencing an eerie stillness, or the long stretch of what feels like eternity. Not the funnest place, definitely not a place of movement. It oftentimes represents a sense of feeling stuck. Now, it's very suitable. This comes up in my own situation because in many ways I do feel stuck. There's a lot of problems that we're facing today that are of great concern to me and no doubt to you. That, no one person has the individual power required to really set things right. And it's very difficult to get people marshaled together and working together towards the same purpose and actually accomplish something. So that sense of feeling stuck, you're just kind of going over the same issues over and over again. I mean, that's something that I experience, and I imagine many of you watching have as well. Now, the second rune representing the challenge, we have Laguz. So think fluidity, water, psychic power, intuition, vitality, the sea, life, lake, lagoons, love, divination, looking towards the future, the flow, and everything that which conducts. So, as this is placed in the challenge slot, this represents that there will be a great need for flexibility, adaptability, and to learn to go with the current rather than thinking that I'm going to be directing the current. And my goodness, that certainly comes up on a daily basis. Next, the third rune representing the solution or the obstacle, we have Hagalaz. That represents hail, limitations, disruptions, the process of a brutal awakening, something that is horrible or something that has wreaked havoc, hexes, happenstance, hardships, harm, elemental power, but just it's a lot of stuff. It's big, momentous energy. This also really makes the challenge rune a lot more significant because it suggests that the need for adaptability isn't necessarily going to come across as this gentle, we'll just flow down the river, and if you stop fighting the current, things will turn out well. This is more so your storm is coming your way and you had better learn how to keep your balance, otherwise your rowboat is going to capsize. So all of the ice that we saw up at the top is going to be melting. There'll still be hail, so things will just hit on you almost if that ice, but it'll be more targeted. It'll be chucking it at you. And, but there will be fluidity, there will be movement, there will be a storm. Next, we have the hidden influence, which we have Ahaz. That's the U tree, rather, a channel, action, otherworldly communication, adaptability, analysis, endurance, enlightenment, empowerment, renunciation, and defense. So it would seem that there will be a helping hand that's guiding things from behind the scenes to make sure that things don't get completely out of hand and that the storm is something that can be endured if handled with wisdom. And now for the outcome, we have Ingwaz, representing Freyr, the horned god, the hero god, fertility, new beginnings, family, completion, invocation, action, responsibility, the now, nervous energy, nurturing, nourishing, and entrances. So it is absolutely the polar opposite from what we saw in Isa. Instead of everything being frozen and unchanging to where no traction can be gotten, this suggests a rejuvenation, restoration. Something new can begin and to come out of the sense of stagnation, come out of all of the storms, and then at last there is something to where a person can move forward. So that's just a basic sense of how you might choose a spread to put the runes into, how you might interpret them. And this was just an easy peasy quickie one. We could definitely go further into this, but for the sake of this demonstration, let's go ahead and move on. And let's talk about what to do if you just kind of pick your runes and then toss them. Let's talk about how we might interpret those. And now for the more chaotic and the more intuitive method. As you can see, there's no real rhyme or reason. I just grasped 5 runes out of the bag, tossed them, and this is what we came up with. It isn't terribly uncommon to see people casting runes in this fashion. And the first challenge is figuring out how to read them. Because if you had specific places that had specific meanings, that gives you something to build off on pretty quickly. This, you're having to rely entirely on where you instinctively feel like you need to begin. Now, for me, as soon as I saw how they fell out, I thought reading starting with Isa, down to Manaz, and then up top at Fehu and the blank room. Oh, and yes, I know. Sometimes the blank room gives people fit of the vapors. Yes, I know that wasn't part of the original runic alphabet. Yes, I know that's a modern edition. Yes, I know some people don't approve. Thank the gods no one is, forcing you to use a blank rune. I mean, it really is entirely a personal decision whether you use it or not. I don't particularly have a problem with it. So I don't get into a tizzy when it does make an appearance. So caveats aside, the reason why I'm starting over here, because this, when I look at it, it feels like this downward swing. Like, we'll start here and then things will just kind of get on this track. And then the momentum will carry back up to here. And Fehu and the blank room, they just feel like this unit to me. They're turning towards each other. They're clumped together. In a way, I'll be kind of treating them as the amalgamation of both. So we begin again with Isa. That's its second appearance. Just to remind you, it is ice, impediment, stillness, intentions, inability, evasiveness, inaction, immobility, rest period, the need to stop slander, and also having a sense of withdrawal. So that's the starting point, which isn't a surprise because that was the starting point in the last spread. So no big surprise it would make a second appearance. Next, we have Gibo. Now, Gibo represents gifts, getting a good bargain, guarantees, a grant, gratitude, hospitality, union, partnership, love, and self-confidence. So, on the downward swing, we're going from nothing's going terribly well towards, there's unexpected good things, coming in whatever form, possibly in the form of a boon of some kind, or maybe unexpected help, or maybe expected help from someone who, really stepped up to the plate more than what I would have anticipated in the particular Isa position. So down it goes to the sense of gift and partnership. Then we go down to Manaz. And Manaz represents mankind, family members, memory, mental pursuits, the magician, mysticism, the self-improvement, cooperation, and meditation. So this to me is speaking about integration within oneself and between oneself and one's group, whatever that group is consisting of. So isolation and stillness, down to receiving a gift, down to having a better sense of, where one fits inside the greater scheme of things, and then whoosh, all the way up here to Fehu and the blank room. Now, Fehu represents possessions, cattle, nourishment, having a fief, the feudal system, frere, fire, fertility, fitness, fulfillment, and ambitions that are satisfied. And the blank room, that represents the weird. Sometimes the Norns or Odin, a knowable fate, destiny, a cosmic influence, mystery in and of itself, the void, the need to relinquish control to the divine and to leave things in the lap of the gods. So this is an interesting progression. So it seems to be going from this place of stagnation and isolation down to a sense where there's a kind of community and partnership. And then it's saying that there will be both blessings and also that there are certain things just to, stop raising your gaze so high, human. Things are going to work out as intended. There are certain things that you're not playing a role in that part of the story. So, you're not, it's a mind your business kind of message to me. Things are going to be turning to an overall good turn because Fehu is a very good sign. Also, between Fehu and Ingwaz, that's two references to the god Freyr. So in view of that, and since I did cast these with the intention of asking, is there anything I need to know? And is there anything else I need to be aware of? The fact that Freyr has been coming up a lot, that's really telling me that, maybe I need to reach out to him. I mean, we are starting to move towards that harvest season. We are past the solstice, maybe giving him some time, giving him an offering, acknowledging his role in some fashion. That does seem to me to be called upon. So that's just kind of a quick, easy view of how you might read more of a chaotic spread. So I hope you found this demonstration enjoyable and useful. I would love to hear about your own experiences and your own personal methods in the comments section, or better yet, pay me and the rest of the group a visit at Blackbird's Brew on Gilded. There's a link in the description below. It's a free community. It always will be. We're very open to new members. Existing members are very welcome to invite others to this group. We want to expand the conversation. We want to create kind of a hub for pagans where they can converse with each other in real time, as well as having more long drawn out discussions about issues that are important to them. You know, we want to be of service and provide people connectivity that they can't necessarily find locally to themselves. So definitely sign up for that if you would care to. But for now, I think that will do it for this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.